Hey guys, and welcome back to Mangotology. If you're new here, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Steven Mango, and I'm an ex-Scientologist that works here on YouTube to expose Scientology. If you want to stay up to date on all my videos, please make sure to go down below, hit that red subscribe button, and turn on your bell notifications, and you'll get an alert whenever I release a new video exposing Scientology. And today's video is sponsored by the Coldest Water. The Coldest Water is the absolute best insulated water bottle that I've ever come across. I use this every single day. I really love it, guys, and this company has been sponsoring lots of videos here on my channel, which makes it possible for me to be able to sit down on here and make videos exposing Scientology. So thank you so much to the Coldest Water to help me be able to continue my mission here on YouTube. If you guys would like one of these, it also has one of these pop-out straws on it. It fits about a regular, what do you call those, like plastic water bottles, like the regular sort of ones. You know what I'm talking about. It fits in one of these perfectly. It is great to put in your bicycle, on the go, whatever, because it fits into most standard cup holders. So use code MANGO if you would like to get free shipping on one. We're also doing a giveaway if you can't afford one or you can't get one for whatever reason. You could enter to win one down in the description box below. Check out the links. So thank you again to the Coldest Water. So, hi guys, welcome again to Mangotology, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how Britney Spears saved me from joining Scientology's Sea Organization. We'll be discussing and talking a little bit more about the Sea Organization at Celebrity Center, as well as just at Scientology in general, and how Britney Spears personally stopped and prevented me from joining the Sea Organization. And if we have a little bit of time at the end of the video, I'll share some more of my personal thoughts and different things. And the reason I decided to talk about this to you today was to have a little bit more of a lighthearted story to share in my work here on YouTube exposing Scientology and sharing a lot of heavy stories of abuse, stories about different really scary things and disappearances of Shelley Miscavige. And we talk about really heavy topics here on this channel. And in the video I posted last week now, probably 4 or 5 days ago, was a more serious video giving you guys like a life update, if you will, and how Scientology is still in 2020 affecting my life, how they're fair gaming me still, how they still have a control over my mind, over my career prospects, over a lot of other things, talking about how they're still killing dogs of ex-Scientologists who are speaking out. There's a lot. It's a 45-minute video. So if you've been on this journey with me for a while and you want to hear a big life update about what's been going on, and it's correlated obviously and tied in very directly on how Scientology is still affecting my life here in 2020 in the month of February, then check out that video. It's going to be linked down in the description box below. So now let's rewind back to about 2012 to 2013. I'm not sure exactly which year this specific instance was from my recollection of it, and you guys might actually know this story. I might try to throw in some additional details and stuff because I did tell it and share it in my video when I first spoke out, my 2.5-hour video. That is the first video here on my channel. If you guys haven't seen it, it's my full entire long journey of the very first moment I got into Scientology all the way through my escape and my life after Scientology. So that's the first video you should start with here on this channel. It is the one that I always tell people to check out, and this story was mentioned very briefly in that video. So some of you may be familiar, but I think if you haven't seen that video in a while, or you just kind of want to hear the story, if you're new to my channel, or you're a Britney Spears fan and somehow you stumbled across this video, then we're telling it here again. So I would say it's kind of near the end of my time in Scientology, because that's when I was a little bit more deeper in the fold. So that's when a lot more of the Sea Org recruitment cycles were happening. Were near the end, because they knew I was going up the bridge. I did all my basic book and lecture courses. I was working on congresses and advanced clinical lectures, and I was doing a lot more of a heavy research in Scientology. So yes, I wasn't OT8 when I left Scientology, but I did basically study Hubbard from the inception of Dianetics, or even what predated Dianetics, all the way through his research until Hubbard passed away. So doing all these studies, and I started getting asked to join the Sea Organization. Now, there's many of these different instances, and they always try to bait you, and they do this with sex because they know that sex is what sells, and they believe that all of us are aberrated. They believe that we're all kind of twisted. We're part of this society that has psych drugs, that has regular drugs, that has crime, that has sexual deviancy, and a lot of really what they would consider like perverted sort of stuff. So they know that if we're operating, and this is what Scientology believes, that we're all like this, if we're all kind of operating as part of a society that's riddled with all of these horrible things, then that's what they can use to almost rope us into Scientology, because they think that like the lust and the I guess you could just say like the sexual nature of it will get someone to maybe join the Sea organization. And you always hear stories about people who were like, hey, I met this guy or I met this girl, and then she joined the Sea Org, and she said the only way that we could be together is if I joined the Sea Org as well, so I joined the Sea Org with him or her. And you hear lots of those stories. And then they end up breaking up, or they split them up, and one goes to the Sea Org in Africa and one's in the Sea Org in New York City, and you're like, okay, this is not going to work out. But that person, the initial person that joined the Sea organization and roped in the other person, was most likely a recruiter or was doing it on like a mission for Scientology. So I don't know if you guys ever heard of those type of stories, but it happens very frequently. So they, again, didn't know I was gay. I get so many comments lately about how do they let you in the Sea Org if you were gay, or into the Sea Org, in Scientology rather, if you were gay, or trying to recruit you into the Sea organization at that rate, or making you a poster boy like we thought they were homophobic. So I'm gonna do a new video probably sometime this week about that, because I'm getting so many comments about it, and I know people just stumble across a one-off video of mine, see that I'm gay, and then they don't really understand like how I was a gay Scientologist. So I was in the closet. The first time that they tried to get me in was with this girl, Violetta. And Violetta was so beautiful, and I actually did like her. And I don't know if she's still at the Sea Org at Celebrity Center or not. She was the one who, it was at the Hollywood and Highland Center one, was it Maiden Voyage? It might have been a Maiden Voyage event or a Flag World Tour event. I can't recall like right off the top of my head which one it was. But I tell the story again in my other video, but basically, I don't know if I ever said her name, but I think she went by Violet. But anyways, Violetta tried to rope me in and try to act really flirty with me. She wanted to do an interview to see if I qualified to be in the Sea organization. So that was, again, one of the ways they were trying to rope me in, was through a beautiful girl. And when that didn't work because I was gay, what happened was, and I don't think this was necessarily intentional maybe, but again, was at another one of these events, and these two really handsome Sea Org recruiters came up to me. Now, I joined staff, the same thing. There's this really, really handsome guy. When I joined Pasadena staff, I lasted one day. I was there with David Miscavige, and they were doing the grand opening and everything. I lasted one day on my 2.5-year contract, got out of it because I didn't do my staff status 012, so I wasn't really technically an official staff member. I was like a staff member in training, and I could explain more about what all that means in another video, but again, for you guys who understand Scientology, that's basically what happened. And those two guys, in that instance, just for staff, because staff, you live and work at your home. Like right now, if I could live here in my home, in the outside world, I can have a normal job, and I either go on staff from 9 a.m. to 5, or I think it's like 6 to 9:30 or 10 is like the evening staff. And again, that's 7 days a week, or I believe 5 days a week if you're doing the 9 to 5 full-time schedule. And you have basically 3 levels of Scientology. Your regular public experience, then you have being on staff like that, which is a little bit more indoctrinated, and then the Sea organization, where you sign a billion-year contract, you live and work for Scientology, you devote lifetime after lifetime into Scientology. So on the very first instance of staff, yes, I had this really handsome guy who wanted to go like horseback riding with me and stuff, and it was very weird, and he was always very interested in me. Straight, but again, it was just a little too close for comfort. And this other guy, I can't remember his name, he was so handsome, like beyond belief, like around my age too. At this time, I was maybe 20 years old, I would say. Maybe he was around the same age, 20 to 22, maybe something like that. And he was, again, sharing the story about how he joined staff, and because he joined staff, he got this amazing job. I think it was at Disc Keeper, which is a Scientology company, for like $85,000 a year, and I could do the same thing, and he didn't go to college or something. So I'm like, wow, maybe I could start like attracting these wonderful things into my life if I joined staff. So that was another little reason that I joined staff. Now, to the Sea organization, that's when Violetta was trying to recruit me, and then there was these 2 really handsome guys that also, again, they always try to tag team you. Either 2 beautiful girls on one guy, or two guys on a girl, or in this case, two guys on a guy. So I wanted the three-way, I guess, whatever it was that I had in my mind of some sort of fantasy. I don't know what it was, but these two like beautiful men came up to me, or young men came up to me, because they weren't guys, they were like young. So they were telling me like, hey, we want to talk to you about joining the Sea Org. And I'm like, you know what? No, I've been through a million recruitment sessions. And at the time I should have just said that I did LSD or something, because that's like the instant disqualifier. I should have come up with some excuse, but I wasn't smart enough to realize that at the time. But they were trying to get me to join. I'm like, you know what? No, not interested. And like, save the speech type of thing. And again, they try to say, well, let's do an interview. Can we interview you? And when they do that at Celebrity Center, you think, oh, they're trying to interview me about my acting career. They want to know more about me as a person, because they take interest in you. And they're like, hey, like, we want to like have an interview with you, like if you have a little bit of time. So I knew that interview now meant Sea Org qualifier, where the questions weren't, so tell me about what acting class you're in. It was more like, have you ever done drugs? Do you have a psychiatric history? Have you ever had any deviant homosexual behavior? Like, they want to start asking you all these different questions. And they're like, no, like, don't worry, like, we're not trying to get you like to join or anything like that. But if you have a little bit of time, I would like to show you, or we would like to show you a presentation so you can learn a little bit more about the Sea Org, what we do. And there's no pressure, like, we're not gonna like force you or anything like that, but we just want to share with you so you have a better understanding as a public Scientologist what us Sea Org members do to put Scientology here on this planet for us. And I'm like, okay, like, that sounds kind of cool. And they're like, yeah, we can come to you. Like, where do you live? Like, where's your apartment? Whatever. So I told them, they're like, hey, like, let's actually meet at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, which was obviously a coffee shop, but it was across from my apartment complex I lived at the time. And I said, okay, great. We scheduled the time for the next day. So I'm thinking, great, like, I can meet with these really hot Sea Org members and just kind of admire their beauty and learn more about the Sea Organization. What could go wrong? And what I didn't know at the time, but on the Sea Org routing form, they have a routing form when they have like a new recruit, right? And they have to hit all these different questions and points and sign off on them. And basically the end product of this routing form is a Sea Org member that signs and goes on post. Versus, like, there's other routing forms. When you finish a course, you have to see the examiner, you have to go to different people in different terminals in the org, and then that ends basically with going to see the registrar to get you to sign up for your next course in order to finish that routing form. And routing forms are a whole thing in Scientology. Again, it's something else I can talk about if you guys don't understand what a routing form is, but that's not the point. So I show up to the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf the next day, and in come, again, picture, we're in public now. We're not on the Sea Org base. We're not at LA Org or Celebrity Center or something like that. We're in public, so just keep this in mind. At a coffee shop, two Sea Org members enter in like the full regalia, right? So they have like the naval sort of stripes, and they're in like the big coats, and they're in like the gold insignia things, and the hat. I don't really know what all the terms are and anything like that, so don't come for me, but it's again like quasi Navy military sort of thing coming in. So again, people probably thought they were either in the Navy or something, or they were trying to recruit me into the Navy before like understanding that it was like some sort of Scientology based thing. So they come in, and then my heart kind of sank, because I knew that this was just going to be a regular Sea Org recruitment thing. It wasn't going to be just like two casual people just coming to, everything's a bait and switch. So again, yeah, okay, the two hot Sea Org guys came in. It's not like I was gonna go and take them back to my apartment and have a three-way. Like, I kind of like realized that now, like, it wasn't gonna be that. And that's, I don't know necessarily if that's what I wanted at the time. I don't know. I mean, looking back, maybe, but I did just think it was an innocent church thing. They wanted to educate me as a younger Scientologist about what goes on in the Sea Org to make all of this possible. So that's what I kind of believed was what I was getting myself into. Until I realized later on, like, that was not the case. So they come in, I'm like, oh crap, you know, and I realized this was another bait and switch, and those guys were not coming. And it's not like they could have just wore something normal, like, why are you wearing the full like Sea Org outfits and everything? So weird. They had a laptop, sat down. I don't know if I was already drinking a tea or something, I'm not really sure, but they just kind of came in like straight down to business. Almost in the vein of saying, hey, like, time to sign your Sea Org contract. And again, I kind of told them, like, those other guys aren't coming or what? Like, oh, no, they couldn't make it. They sent us. No, they use those two hot guys to go to everyone at the, event that we were at, and to get them all to agree, all the pretty young girls or the basically closeted guys, to agree to do this, and then they just send regular Sea Org recruiters out. So they use them, like I said, as bait to get you to go to these Sea Org recruitment session things. So they would have been better off to send those guys, and they could have kind of flirted with me to get me to join, but at the time I was so devoted to my acting career, so keep that in mind too, because that's important. So they're starting to show all these different videos on their computers, like a slideshow presentation. But again, remember, the volume is loud, and it's almost like they're not in touch with the normal world. So they're showing me all these videos, and again, I don't really understand at the time, and maybe because I was young or whatever, but maybe I lived in a different world in my mind, I don't know, but I didn't necessarily know about, say, certain media companies that might be in bed with certain political groups and different companies that have vested interests in other things. So it's kind of like going along the lines of that, but it was talking about psychiatry and how evil psych drugs are, and how we all have this engram. An engram is a moment of pain or unconsciousness, essentially, is what it would be considered, but like a recording basically in our mind. But again, it's almost like an implant, right? So again, talking about Xenu, and I'm sure you guys have heard of body thetans. Body thetans are spirits, right? Of basically, we're all a spirit. We have a body and we have a mind, right? Or we are spirits in this body. So when we die, this is why they sign the bill in your contract. They believe your spirit goes to the hospital and goes into the body of a baby that's being born. So you need to find Scientology parents in your next lifetime. Like, that's what they ask you to do, as if you can be like aware to be like, that's a Scientologist, I want to go back in their body so you can be reborn and join the Sea Org again, or go up the bridge, or whatever your next step is. But these spirits, right now, all of us can have clusters of these spiritual beings. That could be thousands that attach themselves on our body. So if you have back pain, elbow pain, knee pain, or just anything, or maybe you have like depressive thoughts, or you have other things, those are all those other spirits that are, roaming through your body at any given time. So on OT7, you're doing an exorcism on yourself several times a day, and you're contacting these spirits while you're holding the cans of the e-meter, and you're contacting these spirits and you're asking them to go away or to blow. And if they really believed in that, why don't they do OT7 like earlier, like in the first couple months of Scientology? Because that's when the most people drop out, or in the first few years or the first few months or even days in Scientology. But if this is so important, why wouldn't they just have people get rid of this engram to begin with? But they're saying that it basically controls us, right? Almost like on an automatic pilot. I might not be explaining it correctly. I'm sorry, guys, if there's some other expert on this who's watching, another critic, but this is basically my interpretation of it. So we all have this basically hypnotic command, and we're all had, obviously Xenu and our spirits and everything were blown up in volcanoes, DC-8s. There was all that weird sort of space opera story. I didn't do OT3, so I can't speak on it on the same way that other ex-members might be able to. I didn't get that far in Scientology. It takes 20 plus years, maybe $1 million plus to get to that level. Like 0.1% of all Scientologists ever get to that level. So it's not a common occurrence to be on that level. But they believe that all these psychiatrists, all these evil people are implanting us with their hypnotic commands and their messages as well. So not only this fourth dynamic engram, the clusters of the body thetans, but we're also having these psychiatrists that are putting us on all these different psych drugs for anxiety, for depression, for whatever, to numb us down and control us, so we can be funneling more money into these pharmaceutical companies as well as to the psychiatrists, so they become more powerful. Then they put their messages on television, and they also run different networks. So say ABC, Fox News, or just whatever, like the big networks and stuff, that they have vested interest, the psychiatrists do, right? So they play these commercials. So say, for example, are you manic depressive? Take Latuda. And they list all the side effects, whatever, but then they say, are you depressed? Do you have highs and lows? Do you have bad days or good days? So then they have these trigger words they say, right? And you're like, yeah, like I'm anxious. Yeah, I'm depressed. Yeah, some days I'm happy, but some days I'm not. Like some days I'm sad, and other days I'm like on top of the world. Like maybe you should take Latuda, right? And try it out. So then you take the Latuda, and that's going to, again, start to harm our bodies, make us in like this gaze. So then it's more easy for the psychiatrists implant us. And what they want to do is run all the media. So when the media is showing negative things about Scientology, basically that's their way to destroy a technology that's so good. And Scientology is freeing mankind. This is what they're saying, is freeing mankind, and is able to get rid of the body thetans, get rid of all your engrams, get rid of all the aberrative thoughts, and restore you to like your basic self. Before there was your reactive mind, the reactive mind storing all your pain, fears, upsets. You were hit by a car and someone screams, "Are you okay?" And you hear a glass break. All of a sudden, if you're in a restaurant and you hear a glass fall on the ground and smash, someone asks the waiter, "Are you okay?" It's going to trigger you back to the accident, right? So they're trying to get, and that's all stored in the reactive mind. So they feel that sometimes you hear a glass break and all of a sudden you feel depressed and scared. You don't realize, because it's in this other part of your mind, that when you hear the glass break, it's triggering subconsciously this past memory that was traumatic to bring on those negative feelings. So Scientology says they can audit out that reactive mind so you go clear, so then you don't need the psychiatric drugs, whatever. But those psychs and those people want to run the media companies, put out their messages, and become like basically the controllers of our universe. And again, crazy, but this is what they believe. So if you join the Sea organization, you now were chosen, and you're part of the elite one, maybe not even 1%, but the 0.1% of society that was chosen. Because you are special, you are the greatest, right? And they try to make you feel like you are the selected one. Basically, they'll let anyone into the Sea Org, but they want to make you feel that you are the one who's able to help us eradicate psychiatry and all these horrible things that are happening on our planet. You see those people over there smoking weed? Like, look at all these people dumbing themselves down. Look at all the crime. Look at the illiteracy rates. Look at just what you see walking up and down the streets in Hollywood. But yes, you want to be an actor, and that's always what stopped me. But we're doing something so much greater. Like, why do you want to play a psychiatrist? Why do you want to play a criminal? Why do you want to play any of these roles? By assuming the beingness of those characters. So now you're saying, what is assuming the beingness of those characters? You're taking on that whole entire, you're encompassing a psychiatrist. For example, you have to think their thoughts, you have to act like that when you're taking on the role, and you're playing like a very low on the tone scale character. You're playing someone on drugs, you're going to have to take on that mental state. You're going to have to live that life and portray that with your talent. Even though you're a Scientologist, you're taking that horrible character on and then putting that out there on, say, television or on a film or something. Why don't you just want to be in Dianetics videos and using your talents to go towards the betterment of our society, not towards going to play like some down-toned person on, some student film? Like, you're never going to make a huge difference. You're not Tom Cruise, you're not John Travolta, you're not this mega star. So why don't you actually use your talents? And knowing that what you know now in Scientology, why would you want to go and just live this sort of life of like trying to, in the WOG world, as they would call it, which is what we live in right now. The WOG, it's a derogatory term, but just like you're part of like just all the scum in society. When now you're a Scientologist and you know about all of this, so now it's your chance to step up to the plate to do something about all this happening in the world and make a huge difference. So you go free and you set our planet free. And when you believe that Scientology works, like that kind of sells it to you. So then the girl, the dorky girl, and the bald guy, like again, this like 50-year-old bald guy and some like 16-year-old girl, or however old she was, maybe she was a little bit older, 18 or something, but she was very young looking. And she's like, you know what, I had dreams just like you. I had a record deal and I had like all this going for me in the regular outside world. Like I was going to be a musician, like say it was like Sony Records, right? I had a deal with Sony and I was going to be a huge music star, but I gave that all up to join the Sea organization. In my head, I'm like, what a idiot that this girl is, this effing idiot, I mean, you can't blame her. She believes all of it too, but it's almost like, wow, like maybe she could have been the next Ariana Grande. We don't know. But she decided to join the Sea Org and make $50 a week, live and work at Scientology, and never see the outside world. And for me, I was driving down the street the other day going to the gym, and I was thinking about this specific story because I knew I was going to tell it here for you guys, and I was just looking around. I'm like, wow, like look at that Starbucks that just opened up. And I'll look at that high rise that's like coming up really well. And the Sea Org members, they're living and working at Scientology around the clock that they don't leave Scientology for any reason. They're not like taking a walk, unless it's like within like maybe like a half a mile of the org, if they ever have, you know, the chance to buddy up with someone and like take a walk down the street or go to their like berthing, which is their home, right, where they live with 16 other people in a bunk bed. So they don't get to see like what we see. Like they're living in our world in 2020. They don't know anything. They didn't see the movie Parasite, which I saw last night, which is actually amazing. See Parasite. It was an incredible film, but like they won't get to see Parasite, an Oscar-winning film. They don't get to go outside and like take a look at nature or go to the mall and see all the different stores or get to like go on a boat or like whatever like your thing is. They don't get to do that. And I always thought it was weird too, like if I was talking to a Sea Org member and I was making a reference about a television show, or like, oh, hey, guess what? I'm auditioning for blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what's that? They don't even know. And it could be like Modern Family. It's like they never even heard about Modern Family. It's like, how don't you know Modern Family? And it could be stuff like that. And I was always so flabbergasted. Like, they don't know anything. They don't know any celebrities, nothing. It was just always, not just a celebrity, it could just be politics, it could be anything. Just like they're so out of touch, all they know is Hubbard. And I just always knew that, like, I don't want to be like that, because I feel like if we're playing along with the idea, if I want to go spiritually free, how could I go spiritually free when I'm trapped somewhere? Yes, you might be able to help others, but you also have to help yourself, and you have to help the world. Like, you can't just help the little bubble of Scientologists if you want to make a difference. You have to go out maybe in a food pantry thing, or go to a shelter, or being able to donate money to like the Red Cross, or like people who could actually do something in our world, not just donating it to David Miscavige's like war chest for Scientology. And when people are like putting you under pressure to raise money, to bring in more money for the org, to, you know, they might be physically abusive, like doing all this stuff, how could you go spiritually free in an environment that's toxic? And even some of the other like spiritual activities I've done recently, and I've seen how people act. I'm like, wow, Scientologists used to like swear like sailors and used to always want all my money. Even if I was like, I cannot give you the money, or I won't even have like money to get home or to eat, they'll be like, eat ramen noodles, or ask a neighbor for, you know, a cup of, you know, something, cereal. You don't need that. Like, you need to give us the money. So like, knowing that they're saying those things, and you have to do that too to trick other people, like, how could you, like, you need to have a clear conscience to be spiritually enlightened, I believe. And I knew in Scientology and the Sea Org it wasn't going to happen. So to the part about Britney Spears, so they're showing me all these presentations. Again, they're talking about politics, showing me different references, then a video. This is a flag only special briefing. If you're seeing this briefing, you are the chosen enlightened one to blah blah blah. And it was like this really weird, creepy, it was like very like almost like the movie The Matrix, and like the laser beams, and it was like the weirdest thing. It was very intense. Hello, this is a flag briefing, and it like scared me. Like, I'm like, oh my god, I'm wondering this series, like something weird is happening in there. It was very creepy. But after that video too, they were showing me different videos of our society and how the society out in the real world is effed up, and how they're trying to control us and keep us like downtoned. So they play the music video of Britney Spears 3. Now the song 3, as you could probably guess, is about a threesome. So they're showing Britney singing 1, 2, 3, and she's like dancing, and she's wearing like that like leotard looking white one-piece thing, and there's like a pole, and she's kind of like dancing and swinging on it with like her other dancers and stuff like that. And they were trying to show like how men get the ideas to be, or even women to be sexual deviants, to be perverts, to have three-ways, to be polyamorous, and to do things like masturbation, which isn't allowed in Scientology, and try to make us feel like this is normal, to try to screw us up on our second dynamic, which is the dynamic of sex, about family, child rearing, all of that. So they're trying to say that, you know, you might just be listening to the radio and the song 3 by Britney Spears comes on, and you sing along, and it's almost like normalizing the idea of sexually explorative. I don't know what the word would be. I'm not shaming anyone for doing anything. Like, I feel like if you want to have a 12-way gangbang, have a 12-way gangbang. Like, have fun with it as long as it's consensual and your partners agree and you're able to do that, whatever, that's fine. Like, I don't think that means you can't be a spiritual person just because you've been gangbanged once or twice. Or whatever it is, or you have a 3-way. Like, okay, does that mean, like, okay, Scientology, like, what are you trying to say? Like, you could only have intercourse with one person your whole life, or I don't know. Like, again, they were trying to make it seem like to me like, wow, like this is why, you know, people aren't going up the bridge and why men get distracted. So even a lot of times when I didn't want to join the Sea organization or staff, especially at Celebrity Center, they would try to like figure out like what's going on that's making me say no, because I'm agreeing that yeah, Scientology is great. Why won't I join the Sea organization? I don't know, maybe because I want to be a television star, I want to be an actor, I don't want to be in the Sea Org for $50 a week, slaving my whole life. It's not like I have a choice to come and go. You sign a contract which basically says like if you leave you have to repay all the money. It's a freeloader debt. So if I joined and I did like all the Scientology training and they housed me, whatever, after I leave they try to bill you for all the time you were in Scientology because you were a freeloader. You were just coming in for the free stuff, not really there to serve the organization or the mission or whatever. So I never understood. I got the idea of what they were trying to say. Like, you know, you listen to the radio and they're singing songs about drugs and crime and you think like, oh yeah, like I want to start selling drugs, which you don't. Like, you can still listen to songs about that. You see the memes like, I'm folding laundry at 9 in the morning listening to songs about killing a person. Doesn't mean you're actually going to kill a person. Like, some things are just entertainment or art or whatever. But so they would ask me basically what I was trying to get at and be like, so have you been masturbating? Have you been going to strip clubs? Have you been going and hooking up with strangers? And this was again before like Tinder or something like that. That was basically the idea, like you're meeting strangers off the web to bang them, or like what's going on? And it's like, am I supposed to say I've never masturbated in my life, or like what is that supposed to look like to them? So again, they always try to make an excuse sexually about why I wouldn't join the Sea organization. They weren't asking me if I was having sex with guys, so again, I didn't have to answer about that. But they again, we're showing me these Britney music videos. So the second they show me the Britney music video, no matter how much I agreed that psychiatry is doing this, no matter how much I did look around and see like other actors and other people I know like doing drugs or just like wasting their life on things when they should be doing Scientology or bettering the planet or receiving auditing or setting ourselves free. Like, why do you want to just smoke weed when you can be doing Scientology? Like, that was my mindset. But the second they showed me the Britney Spears music video, it was over with. Not joining the Sea organization, because I love Britney Spears. Maybe around the same time, it might have been around the same years, maybe it was like 2010, it could have been 2012, I don't remember the exact year. But I met Britney Spears because I flew to Pittsburgh, living in LA, flew to Pittsburgh because all of her meet and greets, she was on the Femme Fatale tour, and all her meet and greets were sold out in every city. And Britney would go backstage before the show and she would meet fans, take photo, and you would go, and that's what it was. It was like $1,000 or something. Included the ticket for the show. Again, super outrageously expensive for what it was, but I ended up spending, I think, $2,500 to meet Britney Spears. Best $2,500 I've ever spent in my life, even though it was like 15 seconds, but I'm like that much of a Britney Spears fan. Flew to Pittsburgh from LA for like one day just to go to the concert. Met Britney, told her how much she changed, inspired my life, and I looked up to her and everything. She's wearing like a pink robe. We took the photo. Here's the photo. And Britney was the one constant, or has been the one constant in my life, because, you know, I was bullied growing up for being gay, and I was in the closet, but I was still being bullied for that, being attacked, being abused by family, just like all these really horrible things were happening in my life. And I always had Britney Spears' music to listen to. Britney's always been, even though she wasn't there physically for me, she was always like that one person who's given me like an escape and a comfort and a feeling that I'm okay for who I am. Like, I don't need to change, like I am me, and I need to embrace that type of thing. And when they were trying to shame Britney as being like this horrible, disgusting person, showing me the music video loud, like they're playing the music loud in Coffee Bean, where people are looking like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are they blasting Britney Spears right now? And they're listening, people around me at the other tables have to listen to this flag briefing and listening to all these different work talk, and I felt so embarrassed sitting there because I knew people were like looking like, is this kid okay? Like, now that I'm looking back and realizing like why other people were looking at me, like checking in, like what's going on over there, showing me the contract. So when I told them, you know what, this all sounds wildly like ridiculous to me, I'm not joining. They're like, what's going on, whatever. I'm like, you know what, should have said it was because of Britney Spears, but I'm like, you know what, I'm not interested, not joining the Sea Org. I don't care what you say, you can tell me anything right now, you could offer me $1 million, I'm not joining the Sea organization. I'm pursuing my acting career. I don't care what type of role it is. I want to be an actor. This is why I moved to LA. And this is, again, only 2 years in my career. Now, after, you know, 11 years in LA with no acting career in sight, I'm not looking to, like anything's happening. Yeah, maybe now I would have joined the Sea organization by now, because they'd always check in. Did you have a bad audition? Did your agent drop you yet? Or did your manager? What's going on? Like, how's that acting class going? And they always try to check in and be like, hey, you know, why don't you join the Sea Org now? Your career's not going anywhere. Why are you wasting time? We're trying to tell you, like, it's not going to happen. You're not going to be Tom Cruise. So join the Sea organization. Because I always thought, like, hey, I could be like Tom Cruise. I could jump on Oprah's couch and say how amazing Scientology is and use my platform as a celebrity to bring people in Scientology. But they didn't want to have anything to do with that. They're like, no, no, no. You can just be an auditor or a staff member and do it like the traditional way instead of trying to be a celebrity, and stop trying to, you know, have this pursuit that's not in alignment with what Scientology's like goals and values and ideals are. So I told them that, and I was very firm on that. And think about that, after all my teenage years of wanting to be an actor, finally saving enough money, being able to move out at 17 years old. I was a kid. Moving out, renting out an apartment. Yes, I got sucked into Scientology, but I had an agent, I had a manager, I had some auditions, I was standing in on television shows, doing background jobs. I was like getting my foot in the entertainment industry, meeting with casting directors. People are like, you know, it's just a matter of time. You're a star, you're a talented actor. We just need to wait till the right role comes around for you. So I was waiting for the role on some television show to come around, or one of these casting directors would give me my big break and my opportunity to be a star. So yeah, when Sea Org members are telling me just join the Sea Org for $50 a week, I wasn't desperate enough at that time. Now, living in the real world, seeing how hard it is to get a normal job or to just even get the background jobs. I worked on one the other day and I get like maybe like 2 to 3 a week, but it's not 5 days a week or 6 days a week like I used to be able to get. And it's harder to make a living out here in the world. And I think now, if I really experienced it as a grown adult, what it's like living in the real world, being in a cult might be a good escape from having to pay bills, pay a cell phone. I'm not agreeing with it. I'm just saying, if you're in a place where you're kind of like struggling or having a hard time, or you can't afford your bills or other things, you're like, hey, you can live at Scientology, have a job, go up the bridge, that's what you believe in, study Scientology. You don't have to think about anything. You don't have to worry about money. You don't have to worry about the outside world, your mortgage, your car payment, nothing. You just have to show up to, you know, your post, audit people, and help them go free. Like, that's the mindset of someone in Scientology that's just like, okay, nothing's going for me in my life, I'll just join the Sea Org. And that's what that's looked at. But because I loved Britney Spears, I honestly believe that even, yes, my acting career did save me, and, you know, I really wanted to be an actor, but I think at that point too, I was believing everything they were saying to me, so it was easier for me to absorb that information and want to join the Sea organization. But once they discredited Britney Spears for whatever it was worth, you know, no matter what else they were telling me, once they showed Britney Spears and portrayed her as such an evil person, I was like, I'm done. Like, these people don't get me. I'm an 18 to 20-year-old gay kid at this time, guys. So, like, give me a break. Like, I just loved Britney Spears more than life itself. So, and I just met her within certain months around that time, too. So, I just knew that Scientology wasn't going to get me to join the Sea Org. At that instance, they got up, closed their laptops, and they all stormed out. They were all mad when I said for hours and hours, sitting at this coffee bean, hours, I'm not joining. So why are you getting mad at me when I'm firm and I say I'm not doing it? You say no pressure, and then if I don't do it, you pressure me, and then you get mad and you storm out. So it made no sense to me. That's why I started really regarding Scientology in a negative way, that it's a cult, and I need to start like steering clear of these people, like something's weird. And it was also weird, I remember in that meeting too, like the guy believed that he could see through the walls because he's an OT. So he could see through the walls and see what the cooks were doing in the back at Coffee Bean or in the back room. Like, he said he could see through the walls and know what was going on between the walls. And that girl's like, yeah, he has like this talent. Like, he needs to tell you about like what he can do, like being OT, and this is what we're going to be able to achieve like in the Sea Org. Because they would tell me like, you don't have enough money to go clear or OT, whatever, but when you're in the Sea Org, you'll be able to receive auditing for free to be able to achieve that state. So yeah, you're not going to be able to achieve that being an actor making, or a background actor, an extra making, you know, $200 a day. You're never going to be able to make $1 million to go clear, or to go OT rather. So that's kind of what happened or happens in these Sea Org recruitment cycles. So I could talk for hours about this, guys. If you want to hear more about some of my other Sea Org recruitment sessions, maybe I'll tell the story about the Violetta one, I don't know. I'll tell you guys a little bit more about like what they actually say, because you guys hear about people joining the Sea organization, you don't know what ropes them in. like how long over the course of months, days, hours, whatever, that wears a person into, wear them down, but also like what are they telling these people to get them to devote their entire life to a slave labor cult. So yeah, maybe I'll go into like exact details so you guys can hear the brainwashing, hear what they say, hear the exact formula to get someone in a place where maybe by the end of watching the video, like you're ready to join the Sea organization yourself. Not that you really would join, but you know what I mean. Like you would get and you would hear kind of like the twisted mind games that Scientology plays. So if you guys want to hear about those stories, let me know down below. Also, let me know what you think about this whole Sea recruitment cycle that I was in. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Have you ever been in one? If you were in Scientology, were you ever in the Sea organization? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. I've been looking at my watch because I'm actually on my way to a beauty treatment. I was going to share some more stories and stuff just about life. I'll do that maybe in tomorrow's video. I'm getting a vampire facial. It's typically $1,000, guys, but I got one on Groupon for like $100 or something. So I don't know if I'm gonna die or get an infection or what. It had good reviews. I don't know. Kim Kardashian made them famous. I want a glowing skin complexion, so I have to go drive to some random Korean med spa in Koreatown in LA. So wish me luck on that. Hopefully my skin doesn't look too crazy, so or hopefully it looks amazing. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe so you can hear more stories about me exposing Scientology. Give this a thumbs up, share this video on social media. Let's get the word out about Scientology being a cult to everyone far and wide. They always told me I didn't have a voice, so help me get my voice out there to the world, make these videos go far and wide. Leave a comment. You guys know what to do. Find me on social media at Steven Mango if you want to follow me on social media. Look at my Instagram stories and keep up with my life. And I'm not posting here on YouTube. I have a fan page as well on Facebook and on Twitter. I don't add personal requests on Facebook, but you can find my fan page. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.